Yeah, it's getting to a point now where I really can't just be arsed. I think I'm literally like 4 days away from shaving the whole thing off. Oof. It's been a hell of a morning, hasn't it? All right, fantastic. Well, welcome to Ice Cream Whatlos, ladies and gentlemen, here on Tuesday, the 9th of June. This is a show where we bring you all the video game news from around the world. I think his microphone's unmuted now. Is it not? Oh, okay. All right, okay, I'll keep chatting. So yeah, it's Tuesday. The weather's getting a little bit better. BBC Weather says that we're hopefully going to get another heat
Should
wave in the next week or so,
should be
which is
fine now, I think.
okay.
Am I okay? Batman Dave 8472 in the chat who says muted. um, literally, it's just been a morning of crap from a technical perspective because I had a Microsoft update and a Streamlabs update on the same day. So yeah, basically that just meant everything that was set as default settings has just spaffed all over it. I had to reset Discord before I could speak with Bibby. I then had to kill Streamlabs and Discord because there was a yellow box around it. There still is a yellow box around Discord. I don't know why. And then we started the stream, but my audio output wasn't configured, so I had to stop the stream and restart the stream again. And then obviously now I'm on the stream, there's no microphone. But anyway, good morning, welcome to twitch.tv/uploads. My name is Graham Day, and this man is the man we call Baby, which is what I said, but you guys couldn't hear. And then I said, the man with the hair that we call Baby, and Baby started talking about his hair. And then I said, oh yeah, I had to make that decision. Do I go for a hat or do I do the hair this morning? But I was taking Chloe back to school. It was the first day back at school. After they were all shut down for COVID reasons and stuff. So yeah, today I thought, you know, I'll just half-ass do the hair. So there we are. That's where I got to. And then David said muted, and there we go. All caught up. Jobs are good. And good morning.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, welcome to twitch.tv/ice cream. My name is Graham Day. This is Bibby, and we are Ice Cream. And in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video games podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. Obviously, as I mentioned, my name is Graham. This is Bib. We give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. This is your daily dose of video games news. And not only is it just our thoughts and impressions, we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions so we can have a little bit of a dialogue, a back and forth. And it's important that we have that dialogue because this gets turned into an on-demand video podcast that goes out on YouTube a little bit later on in the day once the live show finishes here on Twitch. I say here, maybe you are watching on YouTube, and here is YouTube for you. So hi. But then a little bit later on in the day, we turn that YouTube video into an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you are in the chat, feel free to let us know. Even if it's just to say that my mic muted, because that's a regular thing. If I'm not blowing my nose, it's just, Microsoft update going, no, mate, it's not having it, mate. But what'd you get up to yesterday, babe, after the show?
I bet you can't guess.
I'm going to say you were flogged in the middle of your street by a man whose bottom half was dressed in a Mr. Blobby outfit and the top half was naked, except for the words ICU emblazoned across his chest in purple marker pen. Is that what happened?
Do you know what? Very close. Very close. So as predicted, I went to go and play golf, and came back and watched Zaffa Cakes take on the world with his PES United Master League, because that seems to be very much like our Masters of the League, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you do love a good Master League, then you have us to wake up to in the morning with the scoop. Then you get into Masters of the League at about 12 o'clock. You're enjoying the content. People have been messaging us left, right, and centre saying that they're absolutely over the moon. Alpi last night out the blue about 11 p.m. Mentioned that he absolutely adores the way that Master League is rolling out for us at the moment. So again, thank you very much for your feedback, guys. Keep it coming because my ego can get bigger, believe it. But then obviously you got later on in the afternoon, later on in the evening, if you want more Master League, then Zaffa Cakes is giving you some world-class PES 5 Master League for you to all enjoy. So yeah, that was my evening last night. What about yours? I imagine it was quite similar.
Yeah, without the golf.
Without the golf.
Without even any games yesterday. I didn't play PUBG or anything yesterday because I went for my usual mooch, hit my 10,000 steps, came back, and then actually disappointment because behind me, you might be able to hear it. I have a fan, one of those like oscillating big fans.
You have one right here. Hi, Graham.
Hey, I love you too, baby. So yeah, behind me I have a fan, and we went whilst we're on the mooch, popped into Hull Bargains. It was like floor standing fan things, one of those like tower ones.
Yeah.
And the issue with the fan is when we do Masters of the League and we get the green screen up, I can't get the fan on this side of the green screen because it's massive. Whereas the oscillating tower fans, it's just like a big stick kind of thing. So I can stick that on this side of the green screen. It was like, yoink! Having that. Got on and then realised that the little screw pack that's supposed to come in it wasn't in it. Well, that's what you expect when you buy something for $19.99 from Home Bargains, I expect. So I've got to fucking go back and take this big floor standing tower fan back and say, can I have one with the actual screws, please? The worst thing is I put Chloe's together. We bought that one and we bought a little desk fan for Chloe's room because her room's quite warm as well. But Chloe's didn't have the screws in it. However,
nice. I'm going to say some. Oh, sorry, you cut off, and I thought you'd finished talking.
No, yeah. We bought one for my room, bought one for Chloe's room, and Chloe's room didn't have the screws in it. I put hers together first, but hers were just to like put it on a bigger base stand. It didn't even need the stand, whereas mine needs it to stand upright or it falls over. So like. Chloe's didn't have screws in. I thought, it'd be all right, it'd be fine. Mine didn't have screws in it. I was like, for fuck's sake. So I'm going to take it back and ask for my money back or to exchange it. But I know that like there's a good chance that if two of them didn't have screws in it, the next one that I get back won't have screws in it. So, but yeah, what were you about to say then?
I was going to say, and this is very Bibby thing to say, and it's definitely something that Samantha would absolutely kill me for doing. But because I'm very lazy when it comes to stuff like this, would you not just buy a set of screws rather than taking it back?
Ish. I would have done, apart from it's two different sizes of screw. And then there's a third part to it as well. I can't remember what it's called. It's basically like the cable strain, whatever. So obviously the cable goes into the bottom of the fan. And rather than that just being like able to take the pressure of any jolt. So say if you drag it around and the cable gets caught on something, it jolts the power lead out the bottom of the fan. It breaks it. So you have something called a strain something. It's something that takes the strain and it basically screws the cable to the base so that if it gets jolted, that bit gets pulled rather than the cable getting yanked on the end of the product. And that bit wasn't there either. So I thought for a few screws, I've probably even got some in the shed that I can like butcher it together myself, but with that bit missing as well, I thought, fuck it. I'm just, for the sake of just going to the shop, which I can almost see and getting it back, I'll just.
Right, okay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, yesterday we picked it up while we were out walking. That's how close it was. So strain relief. That's the one. A strain relief. It's basically just like it's two little screws with a bit of plastic over it, and it kind of holds your cable in place so that if it gets yanked, that takes the strain rather than the actual bit where your wire plugs into the bottom. But anyway, enough of boring technical wiring news. Welcome to twitch.tv/Upwards. Unless you're on YouTube or listening on demand. We have a few stories for you today. So let's jump into the news. Before we do that, let me jump into the split screen view. Hi, Bigger Bibby. Yay. I mean, not Big Bibby, because that's a different one. I actually do have a scene called... let's get a bit more technical before we jump into it. So I'm using a collection on Streamlabs called Graham's Setup, and within that I have a scene called The Scoop, which is the one where I started off just a second ago. This is the Scoop split. We have the Scoop shoulder, which is where Bibby appears sat on the shelves behind me. And we also have the Scoop Big Bib, which is where we flip it around, so Bib's in the big screen and I'm in picture-in-picture. But anyway, there we go. I don't even know why I got to that complete tangent, but let's jump into the news. And we have some decent news. What are you doing on Thursday night, babe? Are you busy?
What am I doing on Thursday night? That's a very good question. I don't, at this moment in time, don't think I'm doing anything, but I know where this question's leading to.
Just a second, because I mean, a couple of weeks, last week I believe it was, we were planning to stay up late to watch Sony's live stream, to cover it live on twitch.tv/icecreamuploads. A nice watch along like we did with the Inside Xbox event, but naturally, as we mentioned the day after it was announced last week, that Sony postponed that event. They didn't feel it was right to run that event, having big announcements, taking the media attention away from the Black Lives Movement protests that were ongoing. However, that has been announced that once again, I can't find it. Where's my Chrome button gone? What?
Your PC is on its ass this morning.
It's literally... Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to have to add a resource. Bear with me 1 second again.
So yeah, Thursday this week, guys. It's going to be tasty. What
There
are we
we
expecting to
go.
see? There we go.
I had to add it back in again. It's just fucking internet. So, do you know what? Technology, I love you more than anything. Well, not more than anything. More than most things.
Yeah.
But Windows and Streamlabs updates on the same day is just not good for your streaming environment. But good morning, Chucky. Welcome in, you absolute ledge. Nice VIP badge you've got there, just saying. Anyway, so as we were saying, last week there was going to be a PlayStation 5 conference slash presentation. Naturally, that was postponed, but we now have confirmation on when that is coming back. So this article from Eurogamer says it looks like Sony's rescheduled PS5 games reveal livestream will happen this Thursday. I'll jump down because I also have a tertiary, secondary story coming off this. So this was the original story posted at 5:21 p.m. last night. Sony's PlayStation 5 games reveal live stream, which was postponed last week, will now take place this Thursday, according to a new advert that surfaced on Twitch. The company had initially scheduled its games reveal for last Thursday, but made the decision to push the event back to a then undisclosed later date in response to the Black Lives Matter protests taking place around the globe following the police killing of George Floyd. While we understand gamers worldwide are excited to see PS5 games, it wrote at the time, we do not feel that right now is a time for celebration, and for now we want to stand back and allow more important voices to be heard. Now, however, a revised broadcast date has been spotted in a new advert running on Twitch, first highlighted on Reset Era, but now being widely disseminated across the streaming service, revealing that Sony will host its delayed showcase this Thursday, the 11th of June at 9 p.m. in the UK. Assuming plans haven't changed... My God, cookie settings again. Show me the... Are you going to show me? I've just clicked on that. Whatever. Assuming plans haven't changed since the company initially detailed the show at the end of May, proceedings should last around an hour and will focus on the games you'll be playing after the PlayStation 5 launches this holiday. The games coming to the PS5 represent the best in the industry from innovative studios that span the globe, wrote PlayStation boss Jim Ryan in his introduction to the event. Studios, both larger and smaller, those newer and those more established, have all been hard at work developing games that will showcase the potential of the hardware. Sony has yet to officially confirm the revised date, but I'll update this story as more emerges, says Matt Wales for Eurogamer. And then the update almost 2 hours later at 7:13 p.m. Matt Wales writes, those patiently waiting for confirmation from Sony before making frenzied red rings around Thursday on their calendar now have the permission they were looking to circle away. It's PlayStation 5 games reveal live stream, as confirmed by the PlayStation Twitter feed, is officially set for this Thursday, 11th of June at 9 p.m. in the UK. And there's the embedded tweet. See you Thursday, June 11th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. BST, for a look at the future of gaming on hashtag PS5. So there you go. So that's the main story. I mean, I will go off on a little bit of a tangent here because I saw that this morning in a slightly different way. So there we go. Back on screen. Oh, no. There we go. Back on screen. There we go. It looks like Sony's rescheduled PS5 games reveal live stream will happen this Thursday, according to a new Twitch advert, says the post 2 hours ago from Eurogamer. I've responded to that saying, so many people commenting with banterous, keep up comments, without even clicking through to the article. Good morning, irony. The gist of that comment that I post there is, so people clearly don't know how Eurogamer works. That title there, within the tweet, was taken from the actual article. So basically, it's according to a new Twitch advert. Everyone's going, bit slow, lads. Not only according to a Twitch ad, guys. Nice engagement button. Oh shit. It's just all these people like running through, basically saying, mate, they actually announced it. It's like, it's Eurogamer. They know they announced it. If you click through to the article, you can see that it's updated. The reason that bit was there is because it was an update, you absolute plebs. But anyway, that aside. PS5 reveal event, well, the games reveal event this Thursday. So, Bib, what are your plans for Thursday?
As it stands, watching this, however, that could change depending on real life stuff. But yeah, as it stands, let's do it.
Good morning, Mr. NXPVP, who did say yo before. Hope they clearly show what's exclusive and what's not. I mean, it's not as if we've had a next gen conference where they've had games in that didn't really show what was exclusive or what. Oh wait, we did. We had one of those. That was the Inside Xbox one. Ta-da! I was joking. Good morning. Yeah, I hope they do. I think they will. I think what Sony will have as well is a little bit of the banter that they had previously. Why the feck? I've just found the missing Chrome. It's just moved into a separate subfolder in my sources list. Get out of here. Delete. So yeah, what Sony do have is the benefit of Microsoft's hindsight. In terms of Microsoft and the Xbox conference went first, and they've made some clear and obvious mistakes, which, even if they weren't mistakes that Sony was going to make, like, so for example, Microsoft's conference was all about the gameplay, but wasn't really about the gameplay, but was about the gameplay. Even if Sony weren't really that bothered and Sony were going to have it all about gameplay anyway, or not have it about gameplay, they will have learned from that, so they will go into this conference going, oh, look, this is actual gameplay. Here's an actual video of someone playing the game, potentially. They might even go that far. But they will make sure that it's obvious, just like they did with the sharing games thing. This is how you share games with PS5. Bing. Thanks. That's it. Game over. So you know that they're either going to do something like that, or they're going to pick out the other stuff. I mean, Xbox, there was a bit of negativity of like, this was it an Xbox exclusive? Was it on Games Pass? Some of them were on Games Pass, but some of them weren't. And I think that was because Xbox went so early. They'd still not locked down a lot of stuff. They kind of were a bit vague about it, but people picked up on that. So I think, Sony will take some of that with it and kind of go, look, Microsoft were vague because they were pioneers. They were early, but they're not going to acknowledge the pioneer bit. They'll just acknowledge, Microsoft were vague, we're clear, and it's that sort of thing. So I think Sony have the benefit of Microsoft's hindsight. Anyway, let me update the discussing now. Sony's rescheduled PS5 games. Okay, now rescheduled. Oh, caps.
Everything's on the go slow this morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Matt, you talk. You say something. Reschedule PS5 games reveal.
So Thursday then, like Graham said, we've got the fact that Xbox went first, so Sony could potentially learn from the mistakes. I mean, I don't think there was that much of a mistake. Fair enough, they could have been a lot clearer in what they were saying. I.e., they could have stated that it was running natively rather than like the CGI version of the game, which I know a lot of people had a problem with. Rather than it being actual gameplay like we've seen from the I can never pronounce it. Was it Luminese?
Lumin in the Land of Nanite.
That's it. Yeah, I can never remember that. But yeah, it like
you're thinking of
that
the
was clearly being
Lumineers.
run. Yeah. That was clearly being run on proper hardware. Like it was being not proper hardware. Jesus, the Xbox fanboys are going to be coming after me. It was clearly gameplay from the game. It wasn't like set up to be, go in this direction, this will pop up, go in this direction, this will pop up. It wasn't made to be a demo. It was actual gameplay from within it. I hope we see more of that rather than it saying this has been taken from the Xbox and then it's like nothing to do with the actual game itself, kind of thing.
Fully polished with loads of like post-production and stuff like that. And it's like, just because it was based on gameplay originally, or it's taken from the engine but then put through a million other programs, doesn't necessarily mean that it's gameplay. That's not what people were taking from the meaning of it. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying though, as well, in terms of we did watch that live and we were impressed. I mean, as we've said, obviously that was the first reveal, and that wasn't even the big guns. That was Scorn and whatever else that looked decent, but you'd never heard of, and you weren't basing the next gen on. These are extras. So they came with, 13 games, 11 or 12 of which were unreleased or unannounced games from multiple different parties, not even first-party titles. So we had the likes of EA, and my God, there's a massive fly in this room. But it's just sat looking at me.
All I've got this morning is this fucking fly.
I'd have got rid of it, but I was too busy faffing trying to sort out all of the auto updates from Windows and Streamlabs. But anyway, so it wasn't a bad conference. It wasn't, and I mean, I won't.
I don't think it was either.
I won't take that. I mean, like I said, I'm not I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I'm not a PlayStation fanboy. I'd probably do adhere more to the PlayStation side of things because that's where I play. But I still think it was a really good conference. I think it was a mixture of Xbox fanboys being let down because, one, they expected too much, and two, the expectations were also set too high. Microsoft changing the game, or the games will change the game, with the gameplay from the games that will change the game. And it's like, well, okay, we get it, there's gameplay, and then there wasn't anyway. I understand that, but take that away and take it for what it was. The first event, 11 exclusives, maybe 12, whatever it was, can't remember the numbers. 11 first looks, should I say? And that's big. That's big. And then we had obviously some Assassin's Creed Valhalla content, which was also a bit of a letdown. That's on Ubisoft more than Xbox, but still. Jordan says, "Well, was third party showcase going to judge on their first party?" I don't think you judge on their first party either. I think you judge on the third party showcase because that's where they're positioning themselves as a brand. But it wasn't even a bad third party showcase. It was a good, almost indie level third party showcase. Yeah, I know. American sports fans are going, yeah, but it did have Madden 21 in it. How can you say that's in there? I mean, almost in there. It did have Assassin's Creed Valhalla in there as well, obviously. They were the headliners, though. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, you judge the third-party content alongside the first-party content in the whole of the campaign. But as... I can't remember if it was it Yoshida or was it someone else in one of the Sony investor calls or whatever it was. They said basically, it was speaking to a journalist. It was basically, don't judge us on the marketing plan now because you've said that we're behind Microsoft and we've not done enough. Judge us at the end of it, which is a good point. Just because you've not seen something doesn't mean it's crap. I've not seen your marketing, so therefore it's poor. Someone else's marketing was better. No, someone else is marketing their product on their timeline. I'm marketing my product on my timeline. At the end of it, if it's crap, fair enough. But you can't say it's crap when you've not done it, right? So yeah. But yes, third parties, first parties. I'm expecting maybe a bit of both in Sony's conference. I mean, obviously we're probably going to see some more Last of Us stuff, even if it's just a reshare of some of the stuff that we've seen previously in terms of the state of play last week. We'll probably get some screenings, or we might get an announcement that it's definitely coming to PS5 or something along those lines. Excuse me. We might even get a smart delivery sort of messaging saying that you buy The Last of Us on PS4, you can play it on PS5. Excuse me again, hiccuping. If they announce it's coming to PS5, will hurt The Last of Us sales, maybe. Potentially not. I mean, they've just released The Last of Us Part 2 console at the end of the generation, so they're clearly not bothered about losing sales. They think they've got enough pull of the brand to sell it now on this gen anyway. So yeah, I think maybe we might get some announcement. I do think we're probably less likely to, unless there is some of the smart delivery, buy it now and play it going forward sort of stance. That'll be interesting for me to see whether they do have something that competes against that. Like I say, it's only a short-term thing. In terms of smart delivery is irrelevant in 12 months' time for a lot of people, because a lot of people will have the PS5 and be playing it consistently in 12 months' time. So smart delivery will be a thing of the past then. It's like Assassin's Creed being able to upgrade Black Flag from your PS3 to your PS4 for 10 quid. That was huge, but only affected a small number of people for a small amount of time. And then it was gone, the last gen. I won't buy anything from a PS3 anyway, so it doesn't matter if I can play it on this one for £10 or not, or free, or whatever. But it carries the messaging now. And Microsoft, we all agree, are nailing the messaging from a consumer standpoint. Sony aren't. It's not that Sony aren't nailing the messaging. Sony are nailing the messaging. They have been. There's a reason they're selling so well, but their messaging is based on the quality of the games. It's just a matter of how that lives when people... It's not just about the quality of the games. Because if it's all about the quality of games on PS4 and you've got one, you're going to keep buying them. If it's all about the quality of games for PS5, but Xbox has all these other benefits, then that's when people start to go, maybe I'm looking at the Xbox ecosystem. Because PlayStation will probably have the better games, maybe, possibly. But Xbox will have some of them, not the exclusives, but Xbox gives me xCloud, and Xbox gives me Games Pass, and Xbox gives me all the other things that they do as well. So yeah, Sony just concentrating on the games mid-gen is fine, but at the start of a new gen, that's when they can lose things. And that's how Xbox lost the last gen, because they weren't focusing on the games. They were focusing, well, not that they weren't focusing on the games, they were focusing not on gaming. And if they give everyone all these other ways to enjoy gaming, and Sony just say, okay, well, we'll just give you a standard game that you used to, but high quality, and people might go, okay, well, I want a bit more. I want a bit more. I'm praying Halo is good, says Enix. So's everyone that's ever played a Halo game ever. It's not for me, Jeff. No, I'm not joking. I hope it is. I hope it is. I mean, I'm probably not going to play it. I don't have a history with Halo, so I'm not that bothered. I know a lot of people will, and I know a lot of people see it as a console seller, and it will be for Microsoft, no doubt. But I hope it is good, not from a console sales perspective, just from a friendly rivalry competition sort of perspective.
Yeah.
Halo being good, and not The Last of Us, and Gears of War being good, and Forza being good, and any other exclusives that they have on Xbox being good will help with the competition. Which if Xbox get better, then Sony will get better on PlayStation. So yeah, I hope it's good too. But yes, 9 o'clock Thursday evening, the PS5 live stream will take place. Just gonna confirm off air after the stream in terms of, I'm just gonna double check, make sure it is going out on Twitch again. I believe it is. And if it is, then we could be doing a co-stream at 9 p.m. on Thursday. So yeah, keep your eyes on social medias for that. I can type !socials in the chat. Particularly our Twitter, where we will post when we go, when we have announcements on our schedules and so on. So if we are going to cover that live, you will find that out first on Ice Cream Report's Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move forward. It's a big news story, but it's a straightforward news story since we covered it last week. If you want to see the covering of that, feel free to go check out the previous broadcasts or look back on the Ice Cream Applause YouTube, which is also the last link that's there in the chat for you. Seeing where to go next. Okay. Let's stick with consoles for now. And we'll jump into a story that we touched on. I can't remember if it was yesterday, if it was last week, actually, with EA. Moving this. Ta-da! Oh, nope. There we go. Okay. Need for Speed Heat will be EA's first game with PC, PS4, and Xbox One crossplay. Ooh. The update enabling crossplay launches on June the 9th. So jump into the icon. Need for Speed Heat will become EA's first title with cross-platform multiplayer, thanks to an update that will be available tomorrow, EA announced in a blog today. The new crossplay feature will let you play with friends on PC via Origin and Steam, PS4 and Xbox One. After you've installed the update, you'll be prompted with the option to turn on crossplay, according to the patch notes for the update. If you choose not to opt in, you can do so at a later time in the game's privacy settings. Need for Speed Heat is coming to EA Access and Origin Access game subscription services on June the 16th. EA also announced today, and the studio teased more Need for Speed and Steam announcements during the upcoming EA Play Live event on June the 18th. I'd completely forgotten about that, you know.
Yeah.
And many other games to Steam just last week, meaning you are no longer required to use the company's Origin launcher if you want to play those games on PC. EA hasn't shared much about the future Need for Speed games, but we do know they'll be developed by Burnout creator Criterion Games. Bib. Farts.
Crossplay is the future. It's interesting that they've chosen a game which has just featured its last major patch, also of Red. I think it's a massive move. I can't wait to see what happens when they eventually do it with FIFA and Madden, because that's the two where they're either going to be hit the most or have the most success, especially with the way that the market works on Ultimate Team. So the prices seem to be a lot cheaper for players on PC than they do on the Xbox and the PlayStation. So it's interesting to see how that ecosystem would work out. Surely they'll just have one universal market when it comes down to stuff like that. But it's interesting to see how this will go. I'm excited to see where it'll go, because I'd love to be able to play with my friends, not necessarily on Need for Speed because I don't own the game, but for other EA games down the line, I'd like to play with them on different consoles, because we all like Jordan does have a PS4, but he's an Xbox player, innit? Do you know what I mean? We've said this many a time over here before. the only reason I keep it sounds like we're picking on him is because he's the only person that seems to be banging the Xbox drum. So using him as an example for this one, he plays on his Xbox a lot more than I play on mine. If he was playing FIFA on his and I wanted to play pro clubs, I can therefore join his games now. That'll be fantastic. It's interesting to see how it'll hit them monetarily wise in terms of their biggest money spinner, which is Ultimate Team.
Yeah, I mean, I love crossplay. From an outside point of view, from an idealist point of view, I love the idea of crossplay. Most people would love the idea of crossplay. Bigger player pools, more people to play against, better matchmaking because you've got a wider player base pool to pull from, and so on. Love that. My issues with it are my same issues with anything, which shouldn't be issues really, but the technical, in terms of one system being more advantageous to play on than another because of server speeds and differentials, disparities, and so on. But forget that, because that's something that will improve over time anyway. But yeah, I'm absolutely all for crossplay, and I'm all for EA getting behind it as well. The fact that Need for Speed Heat is the first game with crossplay shows that it's starting to have a trickle down effect. Naturally, the biggest games on the market will start off. So we've had the likes of Fortnite, we've had the likes of Call of Duty, we've had the likes of PUBG, as me and Jordan will know. We've used crossplay successfully many times now. So we've seen it in shooters and first persons and battle royales. It's in racing games now. So as Bib says, it won't be long before it's in sports games, and then that's when you start to really mix things up. So let's say, for an example, one pretty close to home, is we streamed it just yesterday. Pro Evolution Soccer has a huge bias towards PlayStation on console, purely because of editing, and also a Japanese game, and that's when most people would have originally played it, and so on. So yeah, if you play pairs on the PS4, you have much less issues finding a game than if you're on the Xbox One. The player base is much smaller, so if you play at a silly hour on a silly day, you might find it difficult to find a game. Throwing crossplay, well, that's not an issue anymore because everyone can do everything whenever they want. Only thing is platform differences, like PUBG. I play in 4K on the One X compared to Graham, who won't have the clarity that I have. Yeah, but I'm better, so it doesn't really matter. So where advantage of certain platforms comes in. See, that's kind of neither here nor there, though. That's like when we play in the office, when we play Fortnite, for example. We did squads. One of us is on a PlayStation, Bibby's on a Nintendo Switch, and so on. And you could have someone on a mobile. But
still winning games, won't we?
But yeah, that's just on your hardware. That's not anything to really be considered. A platform difference is fine, but as long as the game plays perfectly and there's no issues with differences in speed, if there's any disparity in terms of ping or anything, then that's the issue. If you're playing on different hardware but you can still play, then that's not an issue then, because some people, that's all the hardware they will have. Some people would love to play on a PS4 Pro as opposed to just, well, it's not One X, so I'm not going to bother. So yeah, that's the thing. It's not that much of a thing. David says crossplay still sounds like it's gender switching cosplay for me. It is. It is, to be fair. I know many people have done gender switching cosplays, and to be fair, I'd completely forgotten that where it's been called crossplay many times. We've had like female Solid Snakes that we've worked with, and that was referred to as crossplay. So there you go. So yeah, there you go. I completely even forgot about that. They're gonna have to find a new tag because consoles are just coming and going, yoik! We'll take that one for us. Enix says, to be honest, I've seen players on mobile tear it up on Fortnite. It's crazy how fast they can build. I tried to play Fortnite mobile over Christmas. It's when I streamed the next day, and Baby was like, yeah, I saw Graham log on at like 1:30 in the morning. It's because I was in bed just testing it on the mobile. And I was doing okay, but yeah, you can tell the difference between me who was just trying it and then like everyone else that's just trying it, and then that one person who's an absolute legend, because I was melting people because I'm okay. But then this person just absolutely just built around me and they just popped me. Yeah, mobile. So like I say, it doesn't necessarily matter about your hardware. It's if it plays to standard that's required across all formats. If it looks better on one, then the way it looks cosmetically is neither here nor there. As long as you've got the functions and the mechanisms for it to run smoothly, then that's good. So for those of you that missed it, Need for Speed Heat will be EA's first game with PS4, PC, and Xbox One crossplay. An update will be launching on June the 9th, which is today, which should enable that crossplay. So if you've got it, let us know how you get on. I'd like to know if there's any big changes in games. Like I say, that disparity, the fact that I play PUBG with Jordan and he plays on his PS4, and it's fine. We can use PSN Party Chat. Jobs are good. And if he plays on his Xbox, we have to use Game Chat, or we'll usually use Discord if I'm on PC for that. Jordan gets better gameplay, quality on screen in terms of picture, but everything should still play the same. That's fine. When there's disparities in terms of if things take too long to pop in, like things take too long to load, or if people have better preferences to ping and so on, then that's not so fine. So yeah, I'd be interested to see if anyone does have access to Need for Speed Heat, if you do play it, what it played like yesterday or previously to what it plays like today/tomorrow. Is it gonna change? Are you suddenly gonna get absolutely wiped with people because it's a different format, but is it a different format? Is it ping disparities and so on? So yeah, let us know. Show says crossplay is the way forward and down for it across the board. 100%.
Absolutely. As it's not just about opening up to be able to play again with your friends at this moment in time, though, is it? It's the whole complete, like using the FIFA thing, for example, just one more time. It's like using all the other features that come with it. It's not just playing an exhibition match. If you wanted to join up on PES, for instance, and use your My Club teams on 2 different consoles, and then go into the auction house and then realizing it's 2 different auction houses and things like that. And it is a massively complex thing. I understand why it's taking them so long to do it, because it's not just flicking a switch like it is on Rocket League, I imagine, where you can just play against each other because you're just playing for rank. If you want to buy stuff, you go into the shop. But having a transfer market like on FIFA is just going to be an absolute ball ache. But opening stuff up like pro clubs will be amazing because, again, there isn't nothing to do apart from play for you to get your player better. There's no market involved or anything. So I imagine that's a lot easier than trying to implement Ultimate Team across the board as well.
Yeah, I think they probably, if there's not going to be differences in that, then that's a huge undertaking. A lot of people that aren't really aware of the functions that will go into it, like a game mode like Ultimate Team, will just be like, yeah, well, okay, we'll just make it across all of them. It's fine. It's like, no, it's the fragility of economies is like obscene. Throw too much money into an economy and then the economy collapses. Take too much money out of the economy collapses. It's getting that balance where people have enough money to spend but not enough money to be flush. So having that balance in that across different formats, I agree with you. I can see them having cross play in terms of you can jump into the games and stuff yourself, but you will have environment specific economies and so on of that. And yeah. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. We don't need to jump into economics because it's fucking morning. People will be sleeping out here. Let's jump into the next bit of news though. Which way do we go? Do you know what, actually, as soon as we've just been speaking about Ultimate Team, this one fits in quite nicely. The UK government has called for evidence loot boxes the UK government has called for evidence that loot boxes should be classified as gambling. The mechanic could be banned from sale to children. Interesting. This article came out yesterday on VGC, written by Andy Robinson. Loot boxes could be reclassified as gambling products in the UK after the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport launched a fresh call for evidence this week. That's according to a new report from The Guardian. However, it's not clear what kind of evidence the DCMS is seeking. This follows a 2019 DCMS Select Committee, which, after a 9-month investigation, advised the UK government to regulate loot boxes under gambling law and ban them from sale to children. Update: the DCMS has confirmed it will launch a call for evidence into the impact of loot boxes and gambling-like behaviour later this year, following the Select Committee report. It said the government has committed to tackling issues around loot boxes, and that its call for evidence will examine links to gambling-like behaviour and excessive spending in games. These findings will provide a solid foundation for future steps and will be considered alongside a review of the Gambling Act, it said. In addition to the call for evidence, the government will contribute to further research in this area, the DCMS said. Dr. Joe Twist, OBE, CEO of UK, which is the UK's... I don't actually know the title of UK. Is it the video?
I have no idea.
Anyway, Dr. Joe Twist, OB, who's the CEO of UK, provided the industry's reaction to the government's response, stating that it's positive that the government recognises the need for robust, independent research relating to games. And the original story continues. Having taken evidence from developers, trade bodies, and academics, the committee reported a lack of honesty and transparency among social media and game company representatives. Committee chair Damien Collins MP said it was time for companies to be more responsible and challenge the government's stance that loot boxes aren't gambling. If the government wants to maintain that position, it should publish a paper explaining why loot boxes are exempt from the Gambling Act, the committee said. If UK ministers opt to reclassify loot boxes as gambling, game developers could be forced to withdraw some titles or redesign them so that they can be sold to people under the age of 18. Some European countries have already classified loot boxes as gambling. In April 2018, the Netherlands Gaming Authority and the Belgian Gaming Commission declared that certain types of loot boxes were in violation of gambling laws, leading to a crackdown on their inclusion in games. The UK Gambling Watchdog has said that under current legislation, loot boxes do not classify as gambling. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo announced last year that they were planning to introduce new policies that require games made for their consoles to disclose loot box odds beginning in 2020. This news was announced by Entertainment Software Association to coincide with the Federal Trade Commission workshop looking into consumer issues surrounding loot boxes being held in Washington, D.C. Lots of big words because it's a regulatory subject, but very good words in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Pip?
I mean, yeah, I fully agree that I can't believe it's taken them this long to realise that opening something with a percentage chance of gaining something out of it, using real money to potentially get currency within a game back and not actual real money, is still classed as gambling. So it's interesting to see how this gets taken forward, because I think on the back of some boxes now it will say loot items it contains gambling aspects. I'm sure that's started to come out on the back of some boxes now, but still, I don't think parents who don't play video games are educated enough as to what it is that could potentially be within the game itself. I don't understand why they've used Fortnite as the thing, as the picture for this, because as far as I'm aware, there is no loot boxes in Fortnite, is there? There's just skins.
It's
for stuff to buy.
That'll do.
yeah. So it's interesting that they've used the llama from Fortnite. That's definitely misleading, but yeah, I fully agree. It's definitely there's two ways of looking at it. You either take it out completely in the game, or children can't play it. It's as simple as that. There's no in between. There's no line in the sand. You know what I mean? It has to be one or the other. Because you can't have a kid who's 8, 10, 14, anywhere below 18, really, playing a game that contains loot items that you can go out and use a card or whatever it is, and then still have them gambling. It's illegal. It's like a 6-year-old at a pub going to a fruit machine and sticking money in. It's exactly the same thing. You're losing real money to gain something back by playing a game. It's very odd.
It is. I mean, we've said it before. We're firmly in the stance that loot boxes is gambling. It is. And no doubt companies will want to rebadge that into it. No, it's not. It's something else because we're making money from it. Understandably. Okay, you want to make money, and you are making money. Job's good. But it is. I mean, from a ethical point of view, you're making money off of addiction, basically. You are gambling unregulated. No, you're allowing kids to gamble unregulated. That's what I'm trying to say. And gambling is something that can be addictive. So you're allowing kids to partake in an unholy behaviour, effectively, just so that you can maximise your profits. And that's where the ethical question is. At the moment, it's legally fine, but is it ethically fine? I mean, it might not be legally fine soon, but is it ethically fine? Can you sleep knowing that you're taking advantage of people that might not be fully sound of mind? And I'm not saying kids aren't mentally stable. I just mean that they aren't fully mentally developed at the point where they understand what they're getting into. I mean, and even then, adults can be fully enveloped by gambling to the point where they are treated for it as an addiction. So if adults that are fully sound of mind, that have a fully developed view of the world, can fall victim to gambling addiction, then surely it's horrendous from an ethical standpoint to be inflicting this on children, or even continuing to inflict this on children at the point it is. Yeah. There you go. Show says it. I'll say kids are not mentally stable. 100%, 100%. And they shouldn't be. We shouldn't expect them to be either, and we don't. That's the reason why films have 18 classifications, have 15, have 12A, have 12, because kids aren't stable enough to be exposed to those themes, to those messages, to those scenes or whatever. But yeah, all right. I mean, you're not old enough to watch Avengers Endgame without your dad. However, you can full on go and gamble if you want. I mean, you could do that as 5. Yeehaw! Good morning. Good morning.
The Fortnite store, if you've got a store in your game and you can still use money to buy skins and stuff like that, I think that's borderline, because you know what you're getting for the money that you put in.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's the box percentages of stuff where you could get a rare item for 1% chance of getting a rare item. That, my friend, is the entire definition of gambling. You put 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds into a game and you have a 1% chance of getting the one thing that you want out. There is 99% chance that you are going to get shit. That is a gamble. That is the very definition of gambling. I can't understand how it's taken so long for this stuff to get enforced, because anyone with half a brain will realize that that is gambling, and you cannot have that in a game that is below 18 on the front cover or on the back. And you need to state this stuff within the game itself. It's very, very odd how how games have managed to get away with it for so long.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm fully for the way that Fortnite have done it. Video games companies do want to make money. They do want to sell digital property, and video games players do want to buy digital property. Loads of kids will be investing in shed loads of skins because it's cool and their friends are doing it, and that's no different from kids investing in. I'm trying to think of trends back when I was at school. Pogs. There we go.
Pokemon cards.
Yeah, there we go. So kids would invest in those sort of things. But yeah, exactly. But that's the next question. I mean, Panini stickers and Pokemon cards, you would purchase those. I mean, Jordan's even just asked this question somewhere. How do trading card games get away with it, though? That's the same sort of thing in that essence. You spend £2.50 or whatever it costs now. That's what it used to cost for a pack of 6 or 8 Pokemon cards. You don't know what you're getting. You could get an absolute wedge of shite for £2.50. You could get something.
However, the best part about those things, though, was going into the playground and trading. Like, you actually, I mean, this is going to be super hypocritical, the way that I'm going to say, because that all depends on the person's enjoyment. But you having something physically in your hand, i.e. Pokemon cards or Panini stickers that you're collecting for a book, is, for me, rose-tinted glasses on, a little bit different than buying a skin within a game or a gun to use in the game or something along them lines. That might be the most hypocritical statement that I'm going to make on that, because one I see as enjoyment and the other I don't, because I think one of them is a waste of money and potentially the other one isn't. However, I can't. That probably is hypocritical for me to be able to say.
Yeah, I reckon it probably is. I mean, kids these days might be like, why would I want some cards and shit when I can actually run around and jump around and use that shotgun rather than having a picture of it on a piece of card.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean. There is the question though of, I mean, Pogs, for example. I mentioned Pogs. You would buy a pack of Pogs and you would get a slammer and some Pogs in it. A slammer for all you youngsters listening, thinking, what's this crazy old man talking about? He's saying words. Pogs, slammer. What's he saying? But Pogs were little round discs of card, and you'd stack them up and you hit them with a slammer. If they turned over, you got to keep the ones that turned over. Nobody took your slammer. They could take your Pogs though. You could put 5 Pogs down in a game. It's like battling, and you could win all 5 back. You could win 5 back plus the other 5, or you could lose them all. It could be anything. But you didn't know what Pogs you were getting. You didn't know what slammer you were getting. Some slammers and some Pogs were cooler than others, so you'd kind of you'd have to put your money on it, buying blind packs as they were called, and then the blind packs you had a chance of getting whatever. It's interesting to see if video games gets branded as gambling, which it should be. Yeah, where does that stop? Does that then have to be applied to trading card games, and does that then have to be applied to things like Pogs, where you buy blind packs? Anything that has a blind pack mechanic, you are buying something that you don't know, with a hope for a return on investment. And that goes down to those little crap things that Chloe used to get for school, little rubbery sort of toys and things. Like all those, same thing. Then like there was some squishies or whatever they were called as well. You'd buy a pack and you'd have to see what was inside it. And the Lego figures, there's like 15 Lego figures, minifigures in each series to buy or something like that. And then you have to buy it in a blind pack and see what you get. Basically leads to me and Danielle studying Tesco, squeezing all the packs to figure out, so we can figure out what's inside it. But still, it's like it's true.
Well, that could technically be the same thing. Then you just have to stick an 18 sticker on the front of it, and then it's up to the parents to decide whether or not you're able to use it. Then, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it comes down to. As a child, you cannot buy this shit without your parent being alongside you.
I think for something like if there's weighting to it, even as far as Kinder Eggs, like Shaw says, 100%.
Yeah.
If there's weighting to it, does that make it different? So let's compare Kinder Eggs. Kinder Eggs, I say it doesn't. I assume, I could be wrong. I assume that it doesn't have a weighting. So say if I remember there was like Crazy Crocs or something, which was a TV campaign for Kinder Eggs. It was naff. I always preferred getting things that you could build as opposed to just little statuey things. But these Crazy Crocs, there was like 12 to collect or whatever. I assume Kinder just threw 12, like all 12 of them in a million times or 100,000 times, whatever it is. Whereas when you're looking at a video game, it's all based on in-game mechanics. So the number of silver balls in PES will be, you'll have 80% chance of getting a silver ball, and then if you hit that 80% in game, so it gives you a silver ball, you then have an equal spread across the silver balls. So there's two mechanics there. You've got your first percentage marker to give you an idea of what rarity of item you're getting, and then your second percentage marker is the split across them all. So if there's 400 silver balls, you've got 80% chance of getting a silver. You then have a 1 in 400% chance of getting any specific player. So does that weighting change things in terms of does that make it more like gambling because you want to get something, or is that just irrelevant? Should it just be a case of, okay, if you've got any sort of blind pack, when you're putting money on it, whether you're gambling against weighted odds or whether you're just gambling against neutral odds, does that change anything? But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how far it goes, because then you get to good friends of Ice Cream Uploads, Insert Coin Tees, love the company, and they do stuff where they have a bunch of t-shirts that they have on sale, and then if their warehouse has a few SKUs or a few items that they haven't sold, they will put into lucky dips. So you go to a fairground, insert coin, and do the similar sort of thing. You might find something where it's a lucky dip. You stick your hand in, pull out a number, and we'll tell you it's fish or whatever. A few SKUs loose, exactly. Kappa. But like, yeah, insert coin will have it so that they'll tell you your size in terms of, this is the large size, this is a medium size, this is an extra large size lucky dip box. You spend £5, you reach in, you grab a bag, open it up, and you will get a t-shirt or a hoodie or a scarf or whatever. You don't know what it is until you open it. All you know is that it will fit you. Do things like that. Not I think that they should be governed, but it's like, where does it stop? How do you stop it? I feel like video games should be governed. I feel like Carnival Lucky Dips shouldn't. I mean, is that because you're getting a guaranteed return on your investment? So like, yeah. So a Kinder Surprise, you're getting a toy that's equal to the value of the money that you're putting in. So that is that fine? But in FIFA, you could put your, say it's £1 for a spin. You put your quid on, and you get a 79 rated player, not the 99 rated Ronaldo you want. Is that you're not getting a guaranteed return on your investment? And if that is the case, then surely that should apply to trading cards then. Because if you want 120 HP Charizard, but you get 50 HP Oshawott or something, then you'd be a bit pissed because it's not the same thing. So where does it stop?
Yeah. That's a very good point what Shaw just made there. It switches between betting and raffling.
Yeah.
I've seen Rise's comment there as well. What's up, gents? Last year I started earning a good amount and I've had to phone up my bank to deny my bank account from accepting FIFA point transactions because I couldn't stop spending. I found myself loading up the game and instantly getting into the store to see what packs are there. I'll admit I'm addicted to the high opening of packs and I'm 21. I can't imagine how it would be for a kid.
100%. I can
Yeah,
see that. I can see that 100%. Do you know what? All I will say though is GG.
exactly.
Good effort. I mean, having that level of self awareness to know that there's nothing wrong with having a craving for the high. That's human nature. But having that level of self awareness to protect yourself and ring up the bank and say, look, it's not happening. Don't want it to happen because I know I will have. I'm not even going to say a weakness because it isn't a weakness. My character is just that way inclined that I would like to do this at that point in time in the heat of the moment, and I would rather not because I know I would regret it afterwards. So yeah, fair play. Do you know what? GG, well done, Rice.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's nothing wrong with being addicted to that high. It is a high. That's why it's there.
Yeah,
But the issue is, like I said, capitalizing on that in a monetary way, and that's where it is. The high comes from the addiction. It is an addictive element. It's that it comes from positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is addiction, essentially. You wouldn't be addicted to something if you didn't get anything positive out of it. If it was just negative, then addiction is irrelevant. Like people will take heroin because there are positives to that in terms of the escapism, the satisfying of the cravings and all of that stuff. If it didn't do any of that, they wouldn't take it. It'd just be like, well, I'm just getting worse. So so yeah, everyone gets addicted to positivity. So yeah, it's absolutely not a weakness, but 100%. I've said it before, I'll say it again. GG for the awareness. Also, in my opinion, trading cards are massively different. If you spend 80 quid and buy an entire booster box, you're guaranteed to get the best card at least once, with a chance of getting it more than once. On top of that, it's the amount it costs. Packet of Pokemon etc. costs a couple of quid, whereas you pay a minimum 15-20 quid to even open a decent pack. All trading card packs are around the same price, just with a different set of cards, so everyone is in some way getting the same. I do you know, I agree with that, and maybe there's other factors to throw in as well. Do we look at physicality in terms of you are buying digital property when you open your 20 quid FIFA pack that you can't resell for funds, whereas your Pokemon cards you can then, like I've got my 120 HP Charizard 4 times in this booster box, so I can flog a few of those, or at the end of it, when you get to the end of a video game year, okay, well that video game just stops now. We stop adding extra content, so you've put all that money in it. You can't take it forward. It just stays there. You can't sell it. You can't do anything with it. You can't trade it in. Whereas Pokemon cards you can do, or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or whatever cards you can trade those in. So is there an element of that too?
well, what needs it? Well, I agree with what Asim's just said there. It needs to be governed to ensure kids don't get addicted, which is what happens if this all go through. Currently, FIFA and PES are Peggy 3. They need to be Peggy 16 and 18. I mean, that in itself is an absolute tragedy. Imagine being 5 years old and not being able to play a football game because there's microtransactions within it. What needs to happen is, if they can implement it very much like what you had to do with Chloe, where you spent 25 sheets on her PSN account because she's got a child's one and she couldn't play PUBG, that mode is blocked for you
Mm-hmm.
to be able to play in unless you're 18. Unless the date of birth on your account is over 18, that's the only way that you're able to play. It's an absolute tragedy, but it's the only way of stopping it, isn't it?
Yeah. Or having specific modes. Chloe can't play PUBG whatsoever. She can get into the game, but as soon as she tries to hit the main menu, not old enough. Nothing
Exactly.
that you see from this point is for you. Get out. Nail on the head there. So you can go and you can play your career mode. You can play whatever. You can play clubs and so on. But you want to pay the to play elements, the ones that have the gambling elements, then you're not old enough, you can't play this. And
The transfer, or the packs are just blocked for me to be able to do. So you can earn money, so you can earn the coins in the game, and you can go to the transfer market and buy the players. But unless you can get a redeem code, like I don't know, if you can just buy FIFA points and stuff like that, and your parent has to go and buy that, and then they're able to put the FIFA points onto your account for your birthday or Christmas or whatever the fuck. You're able to do that as a child, but not go in and use a credit card that's attached to the account that's meant to be there to resubscribe to PlayStation Now or Xbox Live or something like that, just to stop the fact of being able to use anything that's going on in the background. The only way that you're able to use that is buying FIFA points that you can redeem onto the account. Just something that helps. That doesn't stop it altogether because, again, it would be an absolute tragedy if you couldn't play My Club or Ultimate Team and you are an avid, hardcore football fan. But just putting the blocks in place for you to not to be able to just press X, buy packs, it'll take it out your debit card. It's just something along them lines.
It's interesting in terms of like I'm thinking if they did block it so that say you had to be whatever age. I mean, I've not really thought through this, so I could be saying stuff that's wrong. So let's say you can play the full game, Peggy 3, job's good, bosh. But if you want to play Ultimate Team or My Club, Peggy 12, bosh. But if you want to play it and do the pack stuff, you need to be Peggy 16, 18, and your profile has to be aged ratingly according to that sort of stuff. You will then start to get people saying, yeah, but kids that are 12 are already playing Grand Theft Auto and so on. And I get that. I do get that as well. But how can you police that in terms of I will allow Chloe to play PUBG when I'm there. I won't allow Chloe to play PUBG with other people because for me, from my perceptions and my opinions as a parent, obviously age ratings are guidelines for point of sale, not for in home on video games. And certain games, like I wouldn't like to play GTA, but PUBG, for the sake of a little bit of blood splatter, I get that that's the only way that they can be regulated for widespread. But for me, I'm happy enough to take the risk in terms of exposing my daughter to that content. I feel she's mature enough to appreciate that and understand it's just a video game. There's a lot of themes and stuff in GTA that I wouldn't want her to see. So you kind of leave that into the hands of some parents, but are parents going to be educated enough to know that gambling is addictive and it's a theme that you shouldn't be exposing your child to? Are a lot? Let's say FIFA 2021 had that restriction in it. Would parents just go, "Well, I'm going to buy it for little baby anyway because he loves his football games," without really knowing that they're exposing him to mechanics that will create gambling addiction or could create, not will, but could create gambling addiction. So it's kind of one of those things there because the company will just go, oh, yep, 16, 18, not change anything. If they can just whack that on it, they're going to get bought it for Christmas anyway because the mums and dads are going, it's football. I take him to the football with me anyway. What's it? It's play. It's all right. I'll get him for Christmas. They don't know what they're on about, but yeah. Show says they also need to have hard 24-hour limits in terms of blocking how much you could spend also on within 24 hours. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for trials of any sorts of restrictions in that sort of sense. But I'm a person that doesn't invest too heavily into video games. I'd rather games like PUBGs and Fortnites and Battle Royales with Battle Passes and Season Passes where I spend a defined amount and know what I can get as a return for my investment based on playing time. So if I don't unlock all of the unlocks because I've not put the time into it, that's on me. I'm all for that sort of investment. It's £8 now. I think Bib's cat's maybe just had a dump. We will see. In my opinion, says Rise, FIFA points should be removed from being able to be bought by someone's account whose date of birth isn't 16/18 plus. And then from there, they have to be bought in a store and you need to be 18 plus to buy them. I mean, that's the thing as well. There is impulse purchasing, convenience purchases. You will find that if you work in retail, at the tills, you have either stuff that is expensive but desirable or stuff that is cheap and needs to get rid of because people at that point of sale where they're captive and waiting and waiting for the teller to ring their transaction through or to scan everything, they'll go, oh, I'll get one of them and put that on the till. That's why you always see simple, quick things like chewing gums and so on, which are easy to sell, impulse purchases that they can shift pretty easily. Or you'll find they'll have, like, some stores will go in and go, oh, we've got a brand new fragrance that's usually £70. It's only £50 today. Do you want it? That's because impulse purchasing. People will just go, yeah. So if they don't have to think about it for too long, you can make people just spend money. I mean, a lot of people will go, no, but some people just go, yeah. And those are the people that could be there going, okay, I'm on a video game. Bye. I'll take that. And I'll have another pack. Oh, what's one more? It's only another 20 quid. I've already spent 3 of them. And then before they realise it, 160 quid and they're only going to buy one pack. And it's like... So, yeah. I mean, having daily limits or having anything that means that there's a lead time. I know it's not attractive for video game. We're in a world where we demand it now. I want this. I want to buy it now. Give it me now. Pow, pow, pow. But if you have a lead time where it comes from, okay, I hit the button now, but I have to wait 24 hours before my account gets loaded with the points and stuff, people won't do it as well. Or, that said, you'll probably get sub-communities building where they're reminding people, oh, make sure you get your money in because the packs are coming out tomorrow, and people just start spending a day earlier and stuff like that. But even still, it would still be a barrier for some. So that sort of stuff, combating the psychology of what makes gambling so easy to be addicted to, I think those sort of things could be kind of useful. I have these issues with my 9-year-old's mother, and it's hard to find a line. And that was about the GTA sort of line, I'm guessing. Yeah, spending and frequency limits per 24 hours. I'd even have them incredibly strict and limit to. Yeah, 100%. I agree. I was going to say it depends on the child. I remember Philip bursting out crying, saying he's not going to get home, watch a Flight of the Navigator, but Mum thought we'd hit him. What? I remember the story, but what? Depends on the child. I mean, why didn't you just say it depends on the child? You didn't need the big story. My little brother went uptown with a few of his friends. It's literally 10 minutes away to spend his birthday money. £100 I bought 12k FIFA points from game. He's 10. Like that shouldn't be okay. I agree. And that's where I wouldn't be given that level of freedom in that sort of sense. I'd be given 100 quid to spend on what I want, but I would be like, nah. So I'll use Fortnite as an example. We've got one more story to do, so I'll fly through this quickly. Use Fortnite as an example. Chloe wanted the battle pass, and there was a skin as well that she wanted, and she wanted to spend some of her birthday money on buying this skin. So I basically sat down and told her that to buy the skin it costs this much V-Bucks. To get that much V-Bucks it costs this much pounds, and to get this much pounds, and I told her what the basically how much the skin cost, not that it was an irrelevant number of bucks. I went through that sort of process with her and said, I'll put that bit on, but you're not putting any more on, and then those V-Bucks that you get, you'll have some left over, but don't spend them without asking me for approval first. So she's got some V-Bucks on her account that she spent some of them the other day, but she's not spending any of them without approval, because she knows that we want to make sure that we can gauge her understanding and discipline, and make sure she's in the right. What did we say before? Children aren't mentally stable enough to be able to judge those decisions. We want to kind of give her the guideline to make sure that all those purchase decisions are based off of mental stability. But anyway, let's leave that there. We've got one more story to go, and we're already well over an hour into this show. So final bit of news today, and not surprising for me. I've mentioned previously that I watched about 30 seconds of this and realised that it wasn't for me. But I thought maybe it would do better than it did. But anyway, Amazon's Crucible has retired most of its modes following a slow launch. This is once again written by Andy Robinson for VGC, and the shooter is to focus on a single mode going forwards. Amazon's team shooter Crucible has retired 2 of its 3 game modes and delayed its first season indefinitely. The move, shared on the game's official website, follows a slow start for the free-to-play game, which at the time of publishing has less than 100 viewers on streaming platform Twitch, which its parent company owns. That is ridiculous. Let's stop for just a second, and I have a little bit of context. Amazon's shooter Crucible is a AAA quality game in terms of the budget and the size and scale and the influencer outreach and stuff that they did at launch, and it has, at the time of publishing this article, 100 viewers on Twitch. Last night, PS5, a game that came out 13 years ago, whatever it was, had over 600 viewers on Twitch. So PS5 last night had more than 6 times the amount of viewers that Crucible did, and that was only because of one person streaming it. So, yeah. Let that sink in. Anyway, according to Steam Spy, Crucible had a peak concurrent play count of less than 1,000 this weekend, which is less than expected for a free-to-play title backed by a major corporation. Crucible is the Twitch owner's first big stride into game software as part of what is said to be an investment of hundreds of millions of dollars into game creation. In its latest update, Crucible's developer said the game would stay in pre-season until it was able to add player-requested features and polish the game. It also confirmed it would focus solely on the game's MOBA-inspired Heart of the Hives mode going forwards. Moving forward, we'll be putting all of our efforts towards Heart of the Hives and what we can do to make that mode shine, it said. Focusing on one mode allows us to refine the design of core systems without the compromises we needed to make the support to 3 game modes. This does mean that we'll be retiring Harvester Command and Alpha Hunters for the foreseeable future. We'll be removing Alpha Hunters from the list of game modes soon, and Harvester Command once our new player experience has been improved. Crucible's updated direction will be rolled out in 2 phases according to the devlog. The first phase will be build and iterate on core systems, including voice chat, an expanded ping system, and a minimap. In the second phase, Amazon Games will add additional systems and polish that will help elevate the Crucible experience. A lot of work in this second phase will depend on what we hear from you during phase 1, the developer said. Right now, our plans for improvements in the second phase include custom tailoring the map for Heart of the Hives, improving the creatures in the world, adding support for custom games, and enhanced social system functionality. Whew. Bit painful. What your thoughts?
Did they expect this to be a massive hit straight out the door with the first game that they've actually been able to create themselves? It sounds like it with the amount of money that they put behind it, but just putting hundreds of millions behind a game doesn't necessarily bring you success, and I think they've learnt this the hard way, unfortunately for them.
It's... Oh, I'm trying to get the discussing outfit. Okay, has retired most of its modes. Let's change that to many. Crucible has retired many modes. Too many modes. There you go. Yeah, I think they did. Do you know what? I think Amazon just is successful to the point of it can't fail. And Twitch, with a 99% growth year on year, 1.5 billion hours viewed in April alone, can't fail. So Amazon's just gone, okay, we own stuff, we sell stuff, and we broadcast video games. We are gonna shit money, and then just not at all. Told you, DOA. you did. To be fair, it's a shame. It looked fun. That said, I've not played it. Says sure. I mean, do you know what? I watched about 30 seconds. As mentioned many times, I like to play and watch PUBG. So most of my streamers that I will watch when I'm just working away will have PUBG on. It's a good game to have on in the background without paying attention because there's no continuing narrative. The narrative is the situation. So PUBG is a game that I can work to because I don't pay attention. Oh, that's cool. I'm back into the game again. Just in the same way that music, you don't have to really give it your attention. PUBG is kind of like that for me. So anyway, one of the guys I watch is a guy called Chocotaco. He's played a bunch of different games, and he tried Crucible. And I know that he's a good streamer. He's not an energy streamer. He doesn't go over the top. He's really calm, quiet, and collected, and his chat's pretty chill. So I usually think, if he's trying something, I'll give it a good viewing because you know you're going to get an honest account for it. He's big enough where it won't be influenced by money or anything. So if he likes it, he likes it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And I didn't even get a chance to listen to what I was just like, this just looks fucking weird. There's weird slug things and plasma cannon and so I just get
plasma cannon.
Yeah, so I just gave up. Like after 30 seconds, I was like, I don't know. But I was thinking to myself as we started this article, I thinking maybe I was unfair, and maybe other people are being unfair because maybe it just looked confusing, but maybe it probably wasn't. And then as we started reading through the article, like. You play Call of Duty, you've got Team Deathmatch. You play PUBG, it's Battle Royale. Play Fortnite, it's Battle Royale. You've got solo squads and duos, Team Deathmatches, and you understand what those is. Whereas this, not only did it look confusing as fuck, but the 3 game modes, Heart of the Hives, Harvester Command, and Alpha Hunters, they're not really easy access for anyone that's come from the outside as well. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, Battle Royale wasn't easy access. It was like, what does that mean 4 years ago to a lot of people that weren't in, like, niche PC communities? I play Team Deathmatch on Call of Duty. I don't know what you're on about Battle Royale. But that's apparent because people have adopted it and got used to it. And fair enough, if everyone started playing this, Heart of the Hives, Harvester Command, and Alpha Hunters would make sense to a lot of people too. But it's also, that's assuming that you're going to achieve success by assuming that you instantly put barriers up. By not calling it something that people can understand, yes, you are taking away your branding potential for the longer term, but you're also taking away the ease of access. So say if Heart of the Hives is Team Deathmatch, I'm not going to play that because it sounds dodge. But if it's Team Deathmatch, well, I understand what that is. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand what I'm coming at there. And it's that sort of thing. Is that what it is? I mean, it might be something completely different, but it could just be rename for the rename sake. I mean, that's one of my biggest issues with Star Wars Battlefront. They have I can't remember what it's called. They have different game modes. Like they have Team Deathmatchy kind of stuff, but then they have like the one that's kind of like where you've got to push from point A to point B to point C. It used to be called Rush or whatever it was on Battlefield Bad Company, but they called it like Galactic Assault. Or is that what it is? Or Galactic Assault is in the air in space with the ships or whatever. But it's just the naming fits the game but doesn't fit the gamers, and that's the issue kind of thing for me.
So do you think they should have universal names for these kind of game modes?
Not necessarily.
Search and destroy or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. They may not be the same game modes, but I think by offering something different from a developer that nobody's ever heard of, which is something different, by giving them game modes that are called something different, and not giving someone the explanation of what it is, why it's different, why they should play it, and what the unique selling point of having these things being different is. It's just like... Yeah, but it's different, and people aren't open to change very often. So if it's not changed, don't tell them tell them what it is. And if it has changed, then make sure you tell them what it is. You've got more reason to make people want to understand. So I think that's kind of it for me. It's an untrusted brand new property with untrusted brand new game with untrusted brand new game modes. It's destined to be a flop in that sort of sense, and it kind of is. 100 viewers or whatever it was last night, 1,000 concurrent players. Ouch. But yeah, that's it. Like Amazon's Crucible, we're going to drop off to very minimal viewers now because we're going to go live. Hey,
Romeo done.
But thank you everyone for being here for today's show. I would usually jump on with some PUBG straight after the show on a Tuesday. However, I have a conference call in just over an hour, so that's not happening. I might jump on tonight though. If anyone's around tonight and fancies ticking off some dailies/weeklies with me in PUBG, then let me know. I'm looking at you, Jordan, by the way. You know, carry me to a duo win, obviously. But if anyone else does want to get involved, then feel free to let us. If anyone just wants to watch, then feel free to let us know. But yes, we will be back tomorrow with another episode of The Scoop. Same Thursday, same Friday. Tomorrow we also have Masters of the League. Thursday, potentially, also our live coverage of the PlayStation games reveal. That's at 9 p.m. Thursday night, and then obviously Friday back with more Masters of the League. So long story short, loads of content coming for you lucky people. Also, one thing to mention, I didn't stay frosty, Rip. Oh god, cheers, show. Fuck mate. One thing, the reason I didn't play any PUBG yesterday, I didn't actually mention it earlier on. The reason I didn't play PUBG is because we're working on few things to give back to subscribers of Ice Cream Uploads as well. So you may see some stuff coming over the upcoming days and weeks where we can give a little bit extra back to subscribers of ICU. It's been a long time coming, and we're almost at the point where we can go with that. So if you're a subscriber, then you know what, we appreciate you, and we'll have some things to give back to you. And the same thing if you're just a viewer as well and you can't subscribe, because not everyone can. But if you're not a subscriber, then we'll have bits for you too. But yeah, more on that soon. But before we do disappear, Mr. Anything you want to add? Don't know why.
After that beautiful intro, no, I think you said it all. But no, it's as always, guys, I've managed to put the chat bot on this time. Yay. But if you do see any video, any game news knocking around the social media platform of your choice, then you have two ways of getting in contact with us. The first one is the easiest. If you have Twitter, you can catch us at Ice Cream Uploads, at We've Got Rubinho, and at Graham_Day. Just give your thoughts and impressions alongside the link. We'll take that and add it into the next show. But the second of all, if you are active in our Discord, then there is a place for you in there as well called The Scoop News. All you need to do, again, chuck the news article in, as well as your thoughts and impressions, and we'll give you that at the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m. Ish. Do you know, we weren't far off today, and that's not bad. Ish. No. There we go. Yeah, that's not bad. We were live at 10:27 today, and that's not bad to say. Chloe was on her first day back at school as well, so there's all of that. I mean, it's quite bizarre. They have you have a 15-minute slot where you're allowed to take your children in, and your kids are in different bubbles, as they call them, and different bubbles have to go in at separate times so that they don't mingle and integrate and so on. So despite all of that, we still managed to get live just 27 minutes past 10, so 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow. But that's it for us. As Show says, rip. As he also said, do you know what? This is how we end the show every day. So have yourselves a lovely day, ladies and gentlemen. And what have you got to do, babe?
You've got to stay frosty.